This is Vision Playlist. I'm trying to talk to you today about some books. I'm covered in oil and I'm reading from where I wrote the report, which was on Facebook. So people are bringing in, so I do apologize. I started to read Jules Verne, Antarctic Mystery of the Sphinx. Okay, but the introduction to that book said that Jules Verne, was trying to prove or disprove another book, which was by Edgar Allan Poe, and he's talking about the book Narrative of Arthur Pym. Verne's did confirm that the narrative of Arthur Pym was in fact true. It was written by Edgar Allan Poe and narrative and Arthur Pym himself, but they put Arthur's works under Edgar's name to cover up the truth, because I guess not everybody was ready for it. But this is a story about a stowaway from Nantucket went on a whaling boat, and there was mutiny. I guess mutineers, pirates came aboard, and it was a very harrowing experience where they killed them one by one, throwing them overboard. There was even, the internet says, some cannibalism in there. But Verne says it's true that they were eating people. What do you think? I read The Gambler by Fyodor Dostoevsky. It was short. He was in Roulettenberg, because he was playing the roulette. It was kind of cute. The people that were in the hotel, this casino, it was a casino. There was a soldier, there was a dwarf. There was a man with a wooden leg. I think that's somebody nailing downstairs, not on the door. Anyway, in that narrative of Gordon Pym, there's no ending. It was actually the narrative of the man on the boat during this experience, and the last couple of chapters perished with him. I read a short story by Sinclair Lewis called The Ghost Patrol. That was about a policeman named Donald Patrick Dugan, a policeman for 44 years, loved his job. He was patrolling the Forest Park area. He was persuading drunks to sober up. In the office, there was an age limit where he had to retire, and he did not want to. There was department politics, and he did end up in the asylum for nuts, the mentally infirm, after a ghost scare in town. I read The Great Gatsby. I was slightly triggered, just because Donald Trump had a Great Gatsby themed party. It is about rich people, college folk. One guy travels east to become a bail bondsman. There was a little bit of white pride, but I wasn't offended by that. But I was offended by something called the Senior Society. These people thought they were in. The Great Gatsby is by F. Scott Fitzgerald. It was written in 1925. It just became into the public domain in 2021. The quote, I'm going to read you a quote right from The Great Gatsby. Civilization's going to pieces, broke out Tom violently. I've gotten to be a terrible pessimist about things. Have you read The Rise of the Colored Empire by this man Godard? Why, no, I answered, rather surprised by his tone. Well, it's a fine book, and everybody ought to read it. The idea is, if we don't look out, the white race will be utterly submerged. It's all scientific and stuff. It's been proven. Tom's getting very profound, said Daisy. With an expression of unthoughtful sadness, he reads great deep books with long words in them. What was the word, we? Well, these books are all scientific, insisted Tom, glancing impatiently. This fellow has worked out the whole thing. It's up to us who are the dominant race to watch out for these other races will have control of things. We've got to beat them down, whispered Daisy, winking ferociously toward the fervent sun. You ought to live in California, began Miss Baker, but Tom interrupted her by shifting heavily in his chair. And the other direct quote about the senior society says, now I don't think my opinion on these matters is final, he seemed to say, just because I'm stronger and more of a man than you are. Well, we were in the same senior society, and while we were never intimate, I always had the impression that he approved of me and wanted me to like him with some harsh, defiant wistfulness. I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's a spoiler. So Jay Gatsby dies. In the movie too, he wore a pink suit. All right, I have some more notes on Fyodorowski's House of the Dead. It's about the Siberian prison. He did want you to know that people in prison are sometimes snapping at nothing or very little because of years of cruel punishment. They're snapping out at nothing. He pretty much said there are murders in prison, prostitution in prison, and some murderers are murderers by trade. It is paid murderers, I guess. Anyway, by the end of chapter 1, there was a dead body, and they put the dude's head back on on his pillow in the prison. It is partially an autobiography of Fyodor's own time in the jail. It is written, though, from the perspective of a prisoner, Alexander Petrovich Goryantichovich, a former land proprietor in Russia, probably a real estate agent running a scam.